All right, hello, good morning, good evening, and good night. I hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic because today we're going to be talking about YMAX, the fund that I hold that is the majority of what I hold in my investment account. I have 815 shares, really 835 shares because there's 20 shares in my margin account. But what I want to talk about today is having $28,000, a decent portion of your money invested into YMAX risky with a 35.22% annual return. That is really a lot less than it's been. It's really been about 50 to 60% annual return. YMAX is an ETF which covers a lot of the Yieldmax ETFs, which we're going to touch on in this video, paying a 60% return. It does have some kind of NAV erosion, but I want to talk about in this video, with all this money invested, is it putting your money at risk having so much of your potential investment just in YMAX alone, whether you could put it in something a little bit more stable like SPY, the Dow Jones, or the NASDAQ 100. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Is YMAX risky as an investment? We'll touch on exactly what YMAX holds and why I do think it's well diversified and why I have the confidence to put a decent portion of my money into YMAX. So if that does sound good, we're up to 6,075 subscribers, 403 subscribers in the past 28 days. You guys are killing it. Once again, you guys are always killing it. So I want to say thank you very much to yourselves. And let's get into this video. So with $28,764.18 in my investing account, we're currently up about 7.5%, which is fantastic. A majority of the gains coming through YMAX, and they're not coming through capital appreciation. As you can see, I'm only up $35 because my average cost on these 815 shares, 820 shares, is roughly about $17.68, where YMAX's share price is $17.72. So how are we up so much? It's the dividends being paid out because YMAX, they're known for paying high dividends. It's an ETF which holds a bunch of Yieldmax ETFs underneath it, and they're known for paying high dividends, and they are also known for a little bit of NAV erosion, which I want to show you guys right here. As you can see, they've gone from a $20 ETF all the way down to a $17.72 ETF, and this is as the S&P 500 has made pretty incredible gains over the past year, 36%. But we got to keep in mind, YMAX has only fallen 10.5% over the past year, whereas the market has gone up 36%. But YMAX has been paying roughly about 50 to 60% in terms of dividends, which is awesome. Cool. Now we got the basics out of the way. Let's touch on some YMAX ETFs. What I have here is I have a bunch of tabs open which kind of show the different holdings within YMAX, which I want to touch on. Our ETFs. You go to the section on your kind of like the Yieldmax ETF page, and you'll see all the ETFs that YMAX kind of holds as their underlyings. They hold pretty close to an equal weighting of TSY, Apple, AMZ. I can touch on all of them. But what I do want to talk about is kind of each sector at a time. So we have TSY, Apple, and AMZ. I chose Amazon for this example because Yieldmax invests in all three of these, or is at least invested in, YMAX is invested in the price returns of these three companies. So Amazon and Tesla and Apple, I believe they're almost in like the consumer area. People buy, let's say, products from Apple, products from Tesla, products from Amazon, and it's physical products that they sell. That's pretty cool. Then you get into the online space. You have Google, for example. Google is a digital space, and so is Netflix. These two right here, and as well Microsoft. These three. Now we got three. These are all in the digital consumer space where you have Google, Netflix, and Microsoft. Microsoft obviously sells their services such as Office 365, whatever it be, but Netflix and Google, they're selling subscription services and advertising. This goes the same for Facebook. So we have already two kind of sectors. They're both in consumers, but they're different types, which is very cool. You have one which sells physical products. You have one which is digital products, which is very cool. You do have JP Morgan, which is, financial. But what I want to touch on here is we have JPMO, we have PYPY, and we have SQY. We also could really throw Coinbase into this as well, because these are financial spaces. This is where people are sending money, receiving money. Businesses are earning money based on transactions that are happening when people use their services. This is the same for JP Morgan, PayPal, Square, and Coinbase. So once again, we have another platform, another area, another sector where you see YMAX is diversified in the sense that it's in financials and it's banking off of people literally doing banking and personal finance, which is cool. Then we jump into our next category, which is entertainment. We have Disney, and I'm not sure if there's any other up here really. I do have Dizzo, not Lizzo, Disney, which is entertainment space. And I really believe this is pretty much like the only entertainment one for YMAX, but Disney is fantastic. You have to love Disney. They're in both the digital and the physical space with theme parks and, of course, physical products, things like that. But once again, just adding to the diversification, then you have Exxon, oil and gas. YMAX is now invested in the price returns of Exxon, which is an oil and gas company. You can see that right here. XOMO, Exxon. Oh, but once again, diversifying into another space where we're going into almost like commodities. And if you really want to touch on commodities, then we could also bring in gold miners as well. GDXY, a new Yieldmax ETF, which kind of invests in gold mining and stuff like that, which is related to, as I mentioned before, those commodities. Now, we're kind of touching on the last one here, which is the crypto space. Sure, you could say Coinbase, but I'm just going to say Bitcoin straight up because YMAX invests within YBIT, which is the Yieldmax ETF for Bitcoin. And of course, Bitcoin has been on a very good rally for the past little while, which is fantastic. But this really shows the diversification of YMAX. And this shows why I have so much money invested. And I appreciate you sticking around to this point in the video because this is where it really hits home. You see how diversified YMAX is. You have areas where we have companies, fantastic companies that are trillion-dollar companies. Each one of these companies is a trillion-dollar company creating physical products which people buy. Then you have digital products such as GOY, NFLY, and then you have Facebook as well. You could also tap into NVDY with the AI space. NVDY, obviously a $3 trillion company, not a small company by any means. You have financials with 4 Yieldmax ETFs dealing with transactions, things like that. You have commodities. You have entertainment. So this is why I invest in YMAX. I do believe it is diversified. And I love the fact that they pay high dividends. And I love the fact that it correlates well with SPY. If it's correlating well with the index, that's what I want to buy. Because I do find individual stocks, although fantastic, they have proven to burn me in the past. And finding an ETF, not even a Yieldmax ETF, but an ETF that pays fantastic dividends, I believe it tracks the S&P 500 very closely. I think that's awesome because we're seeing the downside of the S&P 500 and we're also seeing fantastic weekly income at this point because it was monthly income, but now it has switched to weekly income as we look at the different groups, which I messed up in the last video, so I do apologize. But that's another thing that's fantastic. Weekly dividends, so it's predictable, a little bit more predictable income. So this is all around why I choose to invest so much money into YMAX. I will definitely be adding more throughout kind of my future buys, but the price is definitely at a high point right now. Do I like to buy at the highs? I don't necessarily. I like to buy when it's on sale, but I will continue to buy and I will load up when prices get really good and attractive. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, just kind of touching on why I like YMAX so much, why I believe it is diversified, and why I will continue to invest. So if you guys enjoyed this video, give this video a like, subscribe, you know what to do. I appreciate you sticking around to the end, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.